Hello everyone, welcome to our tutorial on how to model this light bulb icon. This is our first actual modeling tutorial. All the tutorials that we have seen so far deals with introduction to Blender, the shortcuts, add-ons, workspace, how to change to this nice pleasant theme, and so on. Finally, the workflow that we'll be following all through this DVD series and why we follow that particular workflow. If you're new to Blender, please go back and watch this introduction series if you missed it, because it will help you a lot to understand all the upcoming tutorials and follow up with them, including this one. So let's get started. We will start off with our start.blend. Inside the blend folder under 01 bulb folder, you should have a reference plane setup along with these three lamps. The first object that we will be modeling is this bulb's hull. The primitive that we will be using is a sphere, even though we can start off with a cylinder as it looks more like a stretched and squashed of cylinder. We can avoid some extra work. I'll just demonstrate you with a practical example. We'll start off with a cylinder itself. Tap into edit mode, S to scale. I'll not be explaining much steps for the cylinder because we will not be really using the cylinder based model. Let me just quickly model this one. Okay, so all these manual scaling and matching these curvature until this part of the bulb can be avoided in the case of the sphere, including this last loop cut that we just created. So as you can see, we are done in no time in case of cylinder, and when you add a sphere, it gets even more easier. So let me just delete and start off with the sphere. Shift A to bring up this list. Under mesh you can find UV sphere. Make sure the total number of segments and rings is 16 and 8, and by default it is 32 and 16. You can look at all the shortcuts that I'm using in this part of the viewport. G to grab or move, lock it along the Z-axis, tab into edit mode, scale it. So like I said, until this part of the bulb is taken care by the sphere itself, nice and easy. So we will delete these two vertices which we don't need. Select this one, S to scale, and make sure before you do box selection this is disabled in this case, because when you have it enabled, only the vertices in the front is going to get selected, and when you are going to scale it, only those vertices are going to get scaled, which we don't want. So make sure it's disabled. Box selection, E to extrude, lock it along the Z-axis. So right after you extrude any element, the next action is the movement. You can change it by the hotkeys, yes, for scaling or for rotation if you want, or you can straight away press X, Y and Z in order to lock it in any particular axis. So again, S to scale. Make sure the new faces are roughly the same sizes of the previous faces, so when we add the subdivision surface modifier, you have a nice curve flow. So again, box selection, E to extrude, S to scale, E to extrude, S to scale. So one final loop cut here so that we have this nice curve.